Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Honey Apple Farm. This one is going to be an interesting one. I am getting ready to plant the first seeds of the year and I'm trying something new this year. So last year I went with the time of year recommended on the packets, if it said early March or mid-March, but most of the packets also give specific, the soil temperature should be at least X warm. So I'm going to try that this year, partly because we've had such crazy weather. I'm not sure that we can count on, 6 to 8 weeks before final frost date. We've had such crazy weather that I'm not sure that's accurate this year. So what I'm going to do today, and it's the wrong time of day to be doing this naturally. The instructions on the internet said that you're supposed to do this first thing in the morning, which totally makes sense. But I want to do at least a set of readings now and see what's going on with the soil. So most of the things that are 6 to 8 weeks before final frost date specify that the soil temperature should be at least 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to stick a thermometer in there today and see what's going on. And this is my super technical, yes, it's the back of a piece of junk mail, records. I want to do a few along the fence line because that's where some of our early stuff is going. And then the broccoli needs to go in the couple of beds. And I also want to test out the wildflower bed. So the instructions online said to basically take your kitchen thermometer, unless you have a fancy one, stick it about 4 inches down, leave it there for 5 minutes, and that is the accurate temperature. Obviously, the early morning is the best time to do this because that's when everything is coldest, and that will give you the most accurate reading. I will come out tomorrow morning and repeat these measurements, but I just want to get an idea of where we are today. So I'm not going to show you all of these, but let's see what one of these looks like. All right, here we are at our first destination. Let's turn this bad boy on. Come on. There we go. And in we go to about 4 inches deep. Oops. This is hard to do and film at the same time. Ooh, but the soil is really soft, as it should be. We've had rain. All right, and then we wait for 5 minutes, and I'll see what it says. Okay, 5 minutes are up, and although you can't see the screen here because of the lighting, I can, and it says temperature is 42 degrees. Now, this bit of the property has been in sun for hours and hours and hours, so that leads me to think that maybe in the early morning this will be just under 40 degrees and therefore not warm enough to plant yet, but we'll see. So this reading is done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more to go. And since I'll be doing several stick it in and wait for 5 minutes, I brought some reading material. This is the medical article, An Enigmatic Empire Rises, in the latest Archaeology magazine from March, April of this year. I had several magazines to get caught up on when I came back from Portland. And it seems like the right time to just sit out here on the back steps in the sun and do a little reading. Okie dokie, Smokies. So here's our first set of very scientific data. The coolest soil that I found was 42 degrees and the warmest is 47, and not always, by the way, in these places I expected them to be the coolest and warmest. In some ways it's encouraging because it means that the stuff that has to go out in the soil is at least 40 degrees is not that late. I was thinking I was 2 or 3 weeks late and that the soil would be a lot warmer than it is. Now, we did just have some very, very cold nights that were down around freezing, so that might have something to do with it. But I'm actually quite encouraged. So I'm going to take some readings tomorrow, and if they are in that 40-degree range, then I will have several things to plant out this week. I have 2 varieties of milkweed, green milkweed and showy milkweed, and they need to be cold stratified. Now, if we'd bought these seeds in the fall, we could have just planted them out and let them go through the normal winter outside, and they would know that it's now spring and time to sprout, but we didn't. And if you just put them in the ground from being in the nice warm house, they don't germinate very well. So the instructions say to soak them overnight in distilled water and then put in the fridge for 30 days to mimic essentially the winter that they should have gone through before planting them out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use these very tiny containers and some of Peter's distilled water and go ahead and get these soaking. Good morning, friends. It is day 2 of testing the soil temperature. It's a lot cooler than it was. I think it's about 36, 37, and it's about 8:30 in the morning. So I'm going to repeat the same measurements I took yesterday and see what they tell us. Okay, and the first reading of the morning is 42, which is exactly what it was yesterday. Interesting. Hello again, friends. It's now Tuesday, and I have done the hard mathy bit. So on Monday, I took a bunch of temperature readings so that, yes, it is time to plant things. And then I started making some notes down here at the bottom from the seed packet information about how far apart the seeds need to be. And I measured the fence line, which is here. Our fence line is technically 57 feet from tip to tip. But of course, I don't think we're going to start something at either end. And then down here is the information about how much is in each of the packets. Frustratingly, the sweet pea packets have no information other than how much it weighs, about how many seeds are in there. So I'm going to have to open one to find out. And then this over here, I did not film it while I was doing it because quite frankly, it wasn't that interesting. These are the doodles to try to figure out how to space things. I started up here. I got about, I don't know, well, all the way through this one and decided that wasn't going to work. Then I went over here and I wasn't pleased with that one either. So then I came down here and I really liked this one. This one ends up being neat 1 foot units with either peas and sweet peas or beans and sweet peas. And that would give us 28 of the beans and peas and 56 sweet peas, which I really liked. And then I thought, well, can we get a little bit more growing out of it? So then I came up here. So you can see I'm doing super fancy things. These markers here are the spacing required. The sweet peas require 6 inches between themselves and every other plant. So pretty much everywhere that the sweet pea is, there's got to be a 6-inch margin on either side. But here, between the beans and the peas only require 2 inches and the beans require 4 inches. So this is where we're saving a little bit of space by putting them closer together. So this is the one that Peter and I have ultimately decided to go with. It's going to give us 42 pea plants, 42 bean plants, and 126 sweet peas. So that's quite a lot of fence line. It's going to be really exciting to see these come up. So what I'm going to do now is the instructions for both the peas and the sweet peas say to soak the seeds in water for 12 to 24 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and soak those. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this. This is the first round of the snap peas, the sugar magnolia snap peas. And look at this. They're so cute. And I guess maybe I've been dealing with flower seeds too long because holy crap, these are enormous. And then I thought, well, yeah, of course they're enormous. They're peas. But look, aren't they cute? All right, maybe I'm the only one who gets excited about cute multicolored seeds, but I know I'm not because Peter got excited about them too. So, and there's at least 2 of us that think this is really neat looking. I have absolutely no idea how many sweet peas are in here, and we have 3 varieties of peas. So I picked the one that I definitely want to plant, which is high scent. Ooh, and they're going everywhere. Oh my gosh, look at that. See, these are a lot smaller than the pea peas, which makes sense. I gotta figure out how many of them there were in this little package here, so we can figure out. Okay, so we need 126 sweet peas. These are supposed to be planted in groups of 3. Hold please while I figure out how many seeds we have of each different variety. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. So for those of you who are curious or need this information, or for my future self when I forget this, these are all 3-gram packets and they have between 28 and 34 seeds in them. The sweet pea high scents tend to have 28 and 29, and then the elegant splendor 30 and 34. And then this packet, which was 3.5 ounces, has 52 seeds. That's 173 seeds. We only need 126, so I will be holding a few of these back for future plantings. So unlike the beans and the peas where we bought far too many of them, we actually have just about what we need for the sweet peas. I'm excited. Okay, and here we are prepped for tomorrow. So on the right, we have the sugar peas, and then I have 3 different containers with the 3 different kinds of sweet pea seeds that are soaking overnight. And I just decided, you know what, 42 breaks down evenly into 3 parts. So I'm going to do a third of each variety, and that makes life super simple. So we'll have a third of the elegance, a third of the high scent, and a third of the jewels of Albion. So the next thing I'm going to do is take the milkweed seeds, which have been sitting for a couple of overnights, and those need to be put in something damp and put in the fridge for 30 days. So I have used some scraps left over, and I've gotten them wet with the water that was already in here, and I'm just going to lay these out. Turns out this is a mighty handy plate. So I'm just going to lay them out here. Fold this over on itself when I'm done so that it's got damp things on both sides. Put it in the Ziploc bag and put it in the fridge. And that's it. Thanks so much for coming along on the prep journey. I am really excited to get all of these seeds in the ground. We're going to have a lot of planting to do tomorrow. Happily, the weather's going to be really nice, so I will see you soon for an epic day of planting out everything that we've prepped today. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. It's interesting, when I first started gardening, it was just put some things in, see how it goes. And the longer the gardening season goes on, the more, I guess, precise I'm trying to be about, soil temperature and not just days on the calendar. So we're going to call that an evolution of skills, I guess.